I did this set, I should just let you guys know. I wrote this set in order to answer a question that a lot of people have been asking me recently in my life, you know? Like all my peers have asked me this, everyone I live with, even my father, you know? And the question is, why are you single? You people have managed to make relationships look like a Manchester United game because, no, it's a losing game these days. You know how they are. Yeah, that's what they're about, you know, and relationships. If you try dating in Harare, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, you know, because some ladies in Harare have managed to make relationships look like a community project, because Munopes Ramawanda in that project, you know. Yeah. But then the problem was that in my past relationships, right? You know, I've had relationships that I've been in, but people never knew about. And by that, people assume that I've not been in relationships. But the problem is just that some of my relationships are like money problems. You don't tell people about them until they're very serious, you know? The other thing that makes my relationships tricky is that I am without any money, you know? I'm broke, right? You know, I'm so broke to the extent that even my bank knows that I'm broke. It so happened last month that I received a fund about $700 into my account, right? And as soon as I received the transfer confirmation, CBZ sent me a message. They were like, "Kwakanaka ere." And then I took the money, I paid for my tuition. They're like, "Okay, wangwatishkis." Because they know, you know that account in Ngergu minus, you know? That's me, right? But then above all that, right, my relationships are mainly tricky because I am a dark young man. Oh yes, I'm dark. And that alone makes it very difficult to feel seen in these relationships. Yes, I am. You know, like I've reached that level of being dark where I immediately stop talking to a girl when she's like, "I like my guys tall, dark, and handsome," because I know I'm only one of those things. Yeah, for real, you know? Yeah, and it's even funny to me when people are angry and they're like, "Hey, I'll show you my true colors." Guys, I have one. No, that's what's up, you know? Yeah, like I am so dark such that if I was in that movie Black Panther, they call me the Blacker Panther. For real, you know? That's how it is, yeah. Like, and come to think of it, I think that being dark may be actually one of the reasons why I was never a bright student. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, I wasn't bright in primary school. You know, I was never a bright kid. It was shocking when I passed, because I remember bringing my report card to my mom when I was in 3rd grade. And she'd be shocked, like, 90 out of 100. Okay, attendance days. Yeah. That's how it was. And being dark led to some problems, you know, like I remember in 4th grade, I once got suspended in school because I punched this kid and everyone acted like he was the victim, you know? But the truth is that this kid came to me and told me that if I went to hell, the devil would be like, "What are you doing in the queue? We don't ban people twice." Yeah, that's how it was. And then I punched him, right? I told my mom this story and what he had said, she was like, "You should have given him an uppercut." For real, you know, that's how it is. And I think that it took one moment for me to realize how dark I was. You know, you never know exactly what you are until this one point in life, right? So for me, it took this one moment. This girl invited me to church, right? She invites me to church, like, "Hey, Trust, come to church. I like this girl." So I go to the church. And as soon as I walk into the building, that pastor was like, "I sense there's a dark presence amongst us." And everyone turned and looked at me. I never went back there. You know, yeah. And I think that this pastor had a beef with me, personally, I do. Because this pastor actually told my girl this prophecy of how she was going to meet me. And she told me that she was told like this. The pastor was like, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, you are to meet a man, a young man, with much of the blackness." And then they were referring to me, right? And then that's how we met. Exactly, that's how we met. And I thought of it, I was like, you know what? Despite the whole being broke thing and what, I do find girls that like me as I'm leaving, right? I do find the girls that like me. But then the problem with these relationships is that some of these girls are nearly as dark as me. So I always told them, like, "Hey, wana, urimtema, indrimtema. Asitotidanane, chitorichitema, kuna mwari." Thank you guys so much. That was my time. You guys have been amazing. I'm Trust K.